Hello, and welcome to Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Today I'm going to read to you from Journeys Through TimeSpace by James Talisman. Prologue. The adventures begin. The Ellipsan Galaxy. Captain, we have arrived at the Colossian star system, called out the helmsman after the enormous starship dropped out of FTL. Very well. Navigate to the fourth planet in this solar system and maintain synchronous orbit above the planet. I must confer with the Ultimate Supreme, shouted Captain Critterson before leaving the bridge. As he approached the huge iron doors leading into the Ultimate Supreme's headquarters, sweat began to cover the captain's face and body. Pure dread now flooded Captain Critterson's mind as he nervously moved his finger towards the wall button to signal his presence. Before his finger had even reached the button, the huge doors slide open. Get inside, Captain. I have known about your intentions as soon as you left the bridge, growled a booming voice from inside what looked like a huge cave. Walking into the dimly lit space, the captain squinted his eyes to try and see the humongous figure approaching. Bowing deeply, Captain Critterson said, Your Majesty, we have arrived at the Colossian system and are now headed towards Dredason. Excellent. Follow me. I want to show you something, commanded the Ultimate Supreme as he walked further into the cave. Mounted against one of the walls was a huge monitor that displayed what appeared to be a map of Dredason. On the map was a bright red dot. Using one of his huge fingers, the almost 9-foot-tall being touched the red dot to make it expand on the screen. Soon, the red dot enlarged to show what looked to be topography of an area in the southern hemisphere of the large planet system. While it is still hard to recognize from this image, that indentation on this mountain is actually the entrance point to a vast underground complex. I want a landing party to go to this location and retrieve an extremely important artifact that resides inside. Due to the importance of this mission, you will lead the retrieval team, spoke the Ultimate Supreme as he pointed to the location on the map. As you wish, Your Majesty. I will begin preparations right away. Before you leave, there is more I need to share concerning this complex and the artifact within, the Ultimate Supreme said, before walking towards another room within the cave-like space. The two giant reptilian humanoids then walked into another cavern space with huge shelves of books and ancient documents lining all four walls. Reaching high towards one of the shelves, the Ultimate Supreme grasped an ancient scroll and then took it to a large table in the room. The Ultimate Supreme then carefully rolled open the extremely old scroll and placed some weights on each corner of the ancient document. With the manuscript now fully open, it appeared to be a map. This is a rudimentary drawing of the tunnel systems within the mountain I just showed you the entrance to, said the Ultimate Supreme. Looking at the map, Captain Critterson asked, What are those strange-looking symbols shown at different points in the tunnels? And what is that star-like symbol shown in the middle of the maze of passageways in the drawing? Those symbols represent both the obstacles and the accompanying puzzles that will need to be solved to overcome the hurdles you and your team will encounter as you all move deeper into the mountain towards the star-like symbol in the middle of the drawing. That star symbol represents the artifact we need to power the planet destroyer weapon that is almost complete. What is this relic made of? And will we need some kind of containment module to transport it in? You are asking a lot of questions, Captain. I suppose that is a good thing. As for the artifact, many throughout the multiverse refer to it as the Philosopher's Stone. It is believed to have been created by an extremely ancient and powerful being. To ensure the relic never got into the wrong hands, its creator produced the elaborate maze and all the associated obstacles and puzzles. Only the most worthy can obtain and use this ancient source of power. Do you feel we are worthy to possess this artifact, Your Majesty? Time will tell, Captain. I hope I have chosen the right lizard to command this mission. Remembering the intense pain from not so long ago, Captain Critterson said, I promise, Your Majesty, I will not let you down. Very well then. I have a containment module and an archive of this library's contents that you will take with you on this quest. The Ultimate Supreme walked out of the library. The captain quickly followed his leader to his office. Handing the captain a heavy square-shaped box and mini-computing device, the Ultimate Supreme said, this containment unit should shield against any potential radiation from the energetic relic, and the library archive resides within this device. You are still new aboard this vessel, so I will give you a short time to members of the crew to join you on this mission. I am counting on you to be successful, Captain. You know the consequences if you are not. I will obtain that artifact, Your Majesty. I will begin looking through the ship's personnel files right away. With that, Captain Critterson bowed deeply to his leader and quickly left the cave to prepare for the most important mission of his life. Kathmandu, Nepal. Matt, Julia, and Dan walked off the bus and looked around their new surroundings. The Kathmandu bus terminal, an encompassing area, was awash with men, women, and children meandering about the many makeshift vendor stalls set up to sell local goods and clothing to foreign tourists stopping or transferring to the next bus. Recognizing potential foreign tourists, dozens of local businessmen and women surrounded the three as they walked towards the main part of Kathmandu. Politely, the three former college students nodded and replied, "No, thank you," as each person asked them to inspect their wares. Spying a taxi in the distance, Matt waved his hand at the driver. The driver then opened his car door and came over to the three. In broken English, the taxi driver put his palms together while bending over slightly and said, "Namaste. Where might I take you three?" Reaching into his pocket, Matt pulled out a wrinkled slip of paper containing an address scribbled in Nepali and handed it to the driver. "Can you please take us there?" The driver nodded and motioned for them to put their duffel bags in the trunk he had just opened. As they headed towards the destination written on the paper, Dan moved his butt around and explained, "Damn, my ass is sore, guys. That was one long bus ride." "I agree, buddy. My butt is sore too," Matt concurred. "Me three," said Julia, while smiling at the two young men with her. Pondering the last few days, Matt was still slightly dazed from all the events leading up to the current taxi ride. After Master Kenji-san had completed his conversation with everyone present, he gave Matt a slip of paper and told him they would need to go to the place in Kathmandu to meet their guides. Still slightly shaken from their experience on the yacht, the three began to work with some members of the Light Workers Collective to put together the gear they would need for their upcoming trek in the Himalayan mountains. With all three now pretty exhausted, everyone agreed the three former college students should get some sleep before eating a good breakfast and then heading to Denver International Airport. After hugging his parents goodbye, Matt turned and followed his friends out the door towards the parking garage in the underground bunker. Their flight to New Delhi was a long one that stopped in Narita, Japan, before proceeding to India. Once in New Delhi, the three then boarded a train to Gorakhpur. From Gorakhpur, they took a couple buses to reach Kathmandu. After about 30 minutes driving through the heavy traffic in Kathmandu, the taxi arrived at an older building that appeared to be some kind of pub and restaurant. Matt paid the taxi driver and thanked him before they grabbed their duffel bags and started towards the door of the pub. Walking into the dimly lit room, the three squinted slightly as their eyes adjusted from the afternoon light experienced in the cab. Soon, a giddy gentleman in his early 50s came over to Matt, Julia, and Dan and said, "It is such a pleasure to meet the special trio that Master Kenjison has spoken so fondly of." After the three finished shaking the fanciful dressed man's hand, Dan asked, "Would it be possible to get some food and drink? I'm starving." Speaking in slightly broken English again, the man said, "Why, of course, my young friend, I will request food and drink for everyone." The seemingly flighty gentleman spoke to the bartender in a Nepalese dialect, then motioned for the three to follow him to a table where two other men were seated. As they all approached the table, the two men got up to greet the new guests. "This is Ime. He is a Sherpa and will be our guide for the journey over the mountains. This is Ahupati, and he will be our driver to location at the start of our trek. And I am called Ram," the giddy and charming gentleman said. Ime and Ahupati bowed their heads and bodies slightly, and with palms touching, they both spoke the traditional Nepalese phrase of greeting and respect, "Namaste," to the three Americans. Once everyone finished introducing themselves and were seated, Matt said, "I want to thank you three in advance for all your help and guidance on this upcoming journey. All of this is very new to us, and I must admit, I'm a little nervous about this trek over the mountains. Julia and I have some rock climbing experience, but what we are about to undertake is a little beyond our skill sets." "And it is a lot beyond my skills," Dan chimed in. "I do understand each of your concerns, Matthew. I believe your recent experience with Master Kenjison has shown you how flexible reality actually is. With that in mind, before we embark on the journey, we will set our intention for a successful trip through the mountains and down to the Valley of Enlightenment. With proper intent, our safe passage is all but guaranteed," assured the man called Ram. Soon, members of the pub staff brought over various Nepalese dishes and different beverages for everyone to enjoy. Taking another swig of his drink, Dan exclaimed, "While these seem to be an acquired taste, I'm actually starting to really like this Chayang." "Better watch yourself, buddy. Those appear to be stronger than we think. Tomorrow could be a long day," Matt semi-joked. Yeah, I get it. I'll be good. Hopefully there'll be more of this Chayang where we are going." Dan laughed before taking yet another drink. "Everyone is so respectful. I find that very refreshing," said Julia. "Yes, the native people of Nepal have an ancient history and, like most Easterners, they recognize the unity that encompasses us all. While I do not wish to be respectful, I suspect that might not be the case where you all come from," Ram pointed out. "You are correct with that assessment, sir. Unfortunately, many people in the West have bought into the rugged individualist mentality. While I am still young, I already see a disturbing trend in our own country and others in the Western Hemisphere. With what I have recently learned from Master Kenjison, I now recognize even more the importance of peace and unity," Matt commented. The group continued to talk and get to know each other for the next couple hours. Feeling the effects of their recent trip to Nepal and understanding the arduous journey ahead, Matt asked Ram where they could rest for the night. Pointing towards stairs at the other side of the room, Ram told the 3 young Americans that sleeping arrangements had been made earlier, and one of the pub's staff would escort them upstairs to their room. Bidding the 3 gentlemen good night, Matt, Julia, and Dan grabbed their bags and followed the young women upstairs.